The smell was exactly the same: lemon polish, stale coffee, and the underlying metallic scent of judgment. I stood in the foyer of 42 Oakhaven Drive, my heels sinking slightly into the plush, cream-coloured carpet, the same carpet I was forbidden from walking on with shoes for 16 years. To the right, the dining room table where my father used to hold court, dissecting my report cards with the precision of a surgeon and the cruelty of a hangman. To the left, the sitting room where my mother would sip her Chardonnay and pretend she didn't hear him screaming at me. And straight ahead, the grand staircase, the one they dragged my suitcase down on a Tuesday night in November, 10 years ago. My realtor, a nervous man named Arthur who had no idea who I really was, cleared his throat behind me. "It's a beautiful property, Miss Vance. Distress sale, as you know. The owners are motivated. Desperate, actually. They're still technically living here during the showing, which is unorthodox, but they insisted on being present to vet the potential buyer." I adjusted my sunglasses, hiding the look in my eyes. "I'm sure they did," I said. My voice was steady, but my heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. "They're in the kitchen," Arthur whispered. "Shall we?" I nodded. 10 years ago, I walked out of that kitchen with a trash bag of clothes and a bruised cheek, told never to darken their doorstep again. I was trash. I was ungrateful. I was the mistake that cluttered up their picture-perfect life. Today, I wasn't just darkening their doorstep. I was here to buy the doorstep, the door and the roof over their heads. They thought they were meeting an anonymous investor from the city. They thought they were about to be saved from bankruptcy. They were wrong. They were about to meet the karma they spent a decade ignoring. This is the story of how I turned my trauma into a deed of sale. If you've ever been underestimated, cast aside, or treated like the black sheep of your family, this story is for you. Hit that like button if you believe that sometimes the best revenge isn't just living well, it's owning the very ground your enemies walk on. Subscribe and turn on notifications because we are about to settle the score. You have to understand the dynamic before you can understand the satisfaction of the end. My family didn't look toxic from the outside. That was their magic trick. My father, Richard, was a pillar of the community, a bank manager with a firm handshake and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. My mother, Helen, was the perfect hostess. She baked pies for the neighbours and gossiped about their marriages while the crust was still cooling. And then there was Lucas, my older brother, the golden child. Lucas could do no wrong. If Lucas failed a test, the teacher was incompetent. If Lucas crashed the car, the road was icy. If Lucas stole money from Mum's purse, it was a cry for help. If I left a spoon in the sink, I was lazy. If I got an A-, I wasn't applying myself, I was the scapegoat. The emotional punching bag they used to vent the frustrations of their perfect plastic lives. The breaking point came when I was 16. I had been working under the table at a diner since I was 14, saving every penny in a shoebox taped under my bed. I had $2,000. It was my freedom fund, my get out of this house as soon as I turn 18 fund. One afternoon, I came home from school to find my room ransacked. The mattress was overturned. The shoebox was gone. I ran downstairs, panic rising in my throat like bile. There they were, sitting in the living room. Lucas was grinning, holding a brand new gaming laptop and a set of car keys. "Where is it?" I screamed. I didn't care about respect anymore. Where is my money? My father didn't even look up from his newspaper. "Watch your tone, Maya." "Lucas took my money, $2,000. I earned that." My mother sighed, the long, suffering sigh of a martyr. "Oh, stop being so dramatic, Maya. We didn't steal it. We reallocated family resources. Lucas needed a laptop for college applications, and he needed a deposit for his car. He has a bright future to think about." "I worked for 2 years for that." I was crying now, hot, angry tears. That was mine. "You live under my roof," my father said, his voice dropping to that terrifyingly calm register. "You eat my food. You use my electricity. Nothing you have is yours. It is ours. And frankly, your selfishness is disgusting. You should be happy to help your brother succeed. I snapped. I screamed things I had been holding in since I was 5 years old. I called them thieves. I called Lucas a parasite. I told them they were hollow, miserable people who cared more about their image than their daughter. My father stood up. He was a big man, and the air left the room. Get out. What? You want to be an adult? You want to talk about what's yours? Fine, get out. Tonight. Take your trash bag of clothes and see how far you get without us. I thought it was a bluff. It wasn't. My mother stood by the window, watching, saying nothing, as my father physically shoved me out the front door. It was November. It was raining. Don't come back until you learn some gratitude, he yelled. He slammed the door. I heard the deadbolt slide home. That sound, clack thud, haunted my nightmares for years. I didn't go back. The first night I slept in a park slide, shivering so hard I thought my teeth would shatter. The next week, I slept on a friend's floor until her parents got suspicious. I dropped out of high school not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't shower. You can't learn calculus when your stomach is eating itself and you smell like wet dog. I hit rock bottom in a Greyhound station 3 months later. I was eating half a bagel I found in a bin. I saw a family walking by, a dad holding his daughter's hand, buying her a candy bar. I felt a hatred so pure, so hot, it actually warmed me up. I made a vow right there, wiping cream cheese off my dirty chin. I wasn't going to just survive. I was going to win. And I was going to make them watch. I got my GED. I lied about my age to get waitressing gigs. I worked 3 jobs, morning shift at a bakery, day shift at a call centre, night shift stocking shelves. I slept 4 hours a night. I saved. I invested. I found out I had a knack for numbers, real estate specifically. I saw patterns others missed. I started flipping small run-down apartments, then commercial spaces, then tech investments. 10 years. 10 years of grinding until my fingers bled. 10 years of therapy to stop hearing my father's voice telling me I was worthless. I never called them. They never called me, but I kept tabs. I knew when Lucas dropped out of college, twice. I knew when he got a DUI. I knew when my father retired early to consult, which was code for was pushed out. And then the housing market wobbled. My parents, who had leveraged their house to the hilt to fund Lucas's failures and their country club lifestyle, were in trouble. My broker, a shark named Sterling, who knew my history, called me on a Tuesday. "Maya," he said, "it just hit the MLS, pre-foreclosure, 42 Oak Haven Drive. They're drowning. The bank is breathing down their necks." I was sitting in my glass-walled office overlooking the city skyline. I spun my chair around. "Buy it," I said. "You want to make an offer?" "No, I want to buy the debt. I want to own the mortgage first. Then I want to attend the open house as the prospective buyer. But put it under the LLC name. Nemesis Holdings. They can't know it's me." "You're evil," Sterling laughed. "I'm a distinct product of my raising," I replied. "That brings us back to the hallway." My heart was racing, not out of fear, but out of anticipation. It was the feeling of a roller coaster right before the drop. We walked into the kitchen. It looked smaller than I remembered. The granite was chipped. The cabinets were dated. And there they were. My father looked older, greyer, smaller. He was sitting at the island, reviewing documents with a shaking hand. My mother was standing by the sink, nervously twisting a dish towel. And Lucas. He was 30 years old now, sitting on the counter, eating an apple, looking bored. He looked soft, unemployed, entitled. They looked up as we entered. Arthur, my realtor, spoke up. "Mr. and Mrs. Vance, this is the interested party I spoke of. She represents the investment group." I was wearing oversized sunglasses and a wide-brimmed hat. A cashmere scarf covered the lower half of my face. I looked like a celebrity trying to avoid paparazzi. "Please come in," my mother said, putting on that fake, syrupy hostess voice. "Would you like some coffee? We just brewed a fresh pot." I didn't speak. I just nodded to Arthur. My client prefers to observe, Arthur said smoothly. I walked around the kitchen. I ran my gloved hand over the counter where I used to chop vegetables for hours while Lucas watched TV. It's a solid structure, my father said, puffing out his chest. Custom built. We've put a lot of love into this house. We're only selling because, well, we're looking to downsize, travel more. Lies. I knew for a fact they were 3 months behind on payments. I stopped in front of the fridge. There were pictures of Lucas everywhere. Lucas at graduation, high school finally. Lucas holding a fish. Lucas with his new car. No pictures of me. It was like I had never existed. I finally spoke. I kept my voice low, modulated. And the room upstairs, the small one facing the street. My mother froze. Oh, that's just storage. We use it for storage. Can I see it? My father bristled. It's full of boxes, not much to see. I want to see it. They exchanged a look. My father sighed. Fine, show her, Helen. We walked up the stairs. The carpet was worn on the steps, my old room. My mother opened the door. It wasn't storage. It was a shrine to Lucas. His old trophies, his overflow clothes, his junk. We turned this into a hobby room for our son, Mom explained nervously. The previous occupant left a long time ago. The previous occupant? I asked. Our daughter, she whispered, as if the word was dirty. She ran away, got involved with the wrong crowd. We tried everything, but some people just can't be saved. The rage flare was white hot. Ran away? You threw me out into the rain. I gripped my purse so hard the leather creaked. I've seen enough, I said. We went back downstairs. We sat at the dining room table. So, my father said, trying to regain control, we are asking $650,000. We feel that is fair given the market. The house was worth $500,000 on a good day. It needed a new roof, and the foundation was cracking. I looked at Arthur. He pulled out the folder. My client is prepared to make a cash offer, Arthur said. Today, immediate closing, no contingencies. My parents' eyes lit up. This was their lifeboat. However, Arthur continued, the offer is $450,000. That's insulting, Lucas shouted from the kitchen. I told you these investors are vultures. My father's face went red. We can't accept that. We have obligations. I knew their obligations. $450,000 would pay off the bank and leave them with exactly $0. They wanted the extra money to restart their delusions somewhere else. I leaned forward. Take it, I whispered. Excuse me? My father squinted at me. I don't appreciate your tone. Take the deal, I said, louder this time. Because the bank is foreclosing on Tuesday. I know because I own the debt note as of this morning. Silence. Absolute, suffocating silence. The clock on the wall ticked. Tick, tick, tick. Who are you? My mother breathed. I reached up. I took off the hat. I unwound the scarf. I took off the sunglasses. I looked my father dead in the eyes. I have his eyes. Hello, Dad. The colour drained from his face so fast I thought he was having a stroke. My mother grabbed the table for support. Lucas dropped his apple. It rolled across the floor with a hollow thud. Maya, my mother whispered. She looked terrified, not happy, terrified. You, my father stammered, you're the buyer? I am Nemesis Holdings, I said, my voice calm, cold, and sharp as a guillotine blade. I bought your mortgage from the bank 3 days ago, which means technically you're already living in my house. This isn't possible, Lucas said, walking into the room. He looked me up and down, sneering. You, the dropout, who did you marry? Which rich guy are you sleeping with? I didn't even look at him. I kept my eyes on my father. I didn't marry anyone, Lucas. I built a tech consultancy firm. I made my first million at 23, my second at 25. I bought this debt with cash I keep in a checking account for emergencies. My father started to sputter. His ego was fighting a war with his reality. Well, this is wonderful, Maya, you've done well. Helen, look, she's done well. He put on that fake smile, the one he used on bank customers. I always knew you had that drive. I told you, didn't I? I told you that tough love was what you needed. Getting kicked out, it was the making of you. We did this for you. The audacity, the absolute gaslighting audacity. My mother jumped in, tears instantly appearing. Oh, my baby, you came back to save us. Richard, she came back to help the family. She reached out to touch my hand. I pulled it back as if she were radioactive. Help you? I laughed, a dry, humourless sound. I didn't come here to help you. I came here to evict you. The room froze again. What? My father whispered. The offer is $450,000. It covers the debt. You walk away with nothing, no equity, no profit, just the clothes on your back. Or, I leaned back in the chair. Or I foreclose on Tuesday. The sheriff comes. They put your furniture on the lawn. The neighbours watch. Everyone knows Richard Vance is a failure who lost everything. Your reputation in this town is incinerated. You wouldn't, my mother sobbed. We're your family. Family? I stood up. Family doesn't throw a 16-year-old into a thunderstorm because they wouldn't let their brother steal their savings. Family doesn't erase a daughter from existence because she didn't fit the aesthetic. I walked over to the mantel where a family portrait hung, just the three of them. I spent 10 years wondering what was wrong with me, I said, staring at the photo. Why wasn't I good enough? Why didn't you love me? I turned back to them. And then I realised, it wasn't me, it was you. You are small, cruel people, and I am done being your victim. I am your landlord. Maya, please, my father begged. His pride was gone. He was just a desperate old man now. Lucas needs help. He can't work. He has anxiety. Lucas is 30, I said. He can get a job at the diner. They're hiring. I started there. It builds character. I looked at Arthur. Give them the papers. Arthur slid the contract across the table. You have 1 hour to sign, I said. If you sign, I give you 30 days to vacate. If you don't, the foreclosure proceeds immediately, and I'll make sure the local paper runs a story on it. 30 days? My mother wailed. Where will we go? I don't know, I said, walking toward the door. But I hear the park has a nice slide. It's surprisingly comfortable if you curl up tight enough. I walked to the foyer. Maya, my father yelled after me. You can't do this to your own blood. I stopped. I didn't turn around. My blood is fine, Dad. It's the toxicity I'm cutting out. I walked out the door. The sun was shining. The air smelled like rain, but I was dry. They signed. 30 days later, I came back for the final walkthrough. The house was empty. They had left a mess, garbage, scuffs on the wall, a final screw you from my mother. I walked into the kitchen. On the counter, Lucas had carved bitch into the wood with a knife. I ran my finger over it. I smiled. I picked up my phone and called my contractor. Yeah, it's Maya. I'm at the property. Gut it. Everything. The walls, the floors, the cabinets. I want it all gone. I don't want a single splinter of this place to remain. You want to flip it? He asked. No, I said, looking out the window at the garden where I used to hide. I'm going to build something beautiful here, something happy, and I'm going to live in it. I walked out, locking the door behind me. I owned the house, but more importantly, I owned myself. A lot of people ask me if I regretted it, if seeing them broken made me feel guilty. The answer is no. Forgiveness is a nice concept, but sometimes accountability is more important. They spent my childhood teaching me that money and status were the only things that mattered. It seemed only fitting that I used those exact things to teach them a final lesson. They are still in town, renting a small 2-bedroom apartment. Lucas works at a car wash. My dad refuses to make eye contact with me if we cross paths at the grocery store. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it to close the book, to prove to that 16-year-old girl shivering in the rain that she was powerful, that she was capable, and that she was worth fighting for. If this story gave you chills, or if you're rooting for everyone who's ever had to build their empire from the ashes, smash that like button. It really helps the channel. And tell me in the comments, what is the best case of instant karma you've ever witnessed? I read every single one. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of justice, revenge, and redemption. I'll see you in the next one.